Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. And we have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as it's going to be TheBigBot taking on Eris in a PvZ, but more importantly, bot versus bot match. And so, ladies and gentlemen, click that like button. If we can get one like on this video for every leg that is on a larva, that would be great. Leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot matches. And then subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to the channel. I did pull up the description for TheBigBot. It's programmed by NanoGeo. It was created April 14th, 2024, so not old, not super young, but pretty new compared to a lot of the other bots. And then it just says just a little bot trying to live up to a big name. Current builds: 4-gate blink, 8-gate charge lot all-in versus T, 3-gate robo, 2-gate proxy robo versus P, Oracle / gateway man 8-gate charge lot all-in versus Z. So straight and to the point, telling us what strategy it may be going for. And yes, then we do have Eris scouting out. So is TheBigBot as well, though. So scouting behavior generally is a sign of a fairly advanced bot. As yeah, you're not gonna bother programming your bot to get information if you're not necessarily going to do anything with it. I mean, there is a possibility that they don't, but yeah, it is cool to see that we do have new and upcoming bots. And if you guys want to try programming your own bot, I encourage you to go to aiarena.net. All the info is there. The URL is nice and short to type. And there's a wiki on there that has just a nice breakdown of all the guides. There's, of course, a link to the Discord, all that good stuff. And yeah, that's where I went to program my bot. Here's another quick one for you, ladies and gentlemen. If you happen to have any questions that you'd like to ask bot authors or certain bot authors, let me know. I am planning on doing sort of like a interview style collab with a few bot authors at some point. And yes, let's just see where this one's going to go. We do have a Stargate on the way from TheBigBot, so this will be an interesting challenge, as I imagine programming an Oracle is not an easy feat. So, like, how well is this thing gonna work, basically, as they are a unit that is very difficult to program. You've got to manage the energy. They're very fragile. Now we do get TheBigBot going for a solid wall at the front, which is a very realistic approach if you just want your bot to be nice and safe. It's got a battery behind that. Is that a solid wall? Okay, no, pardon me. There is a crack in that. But a nice defensive wall. We've got 2 Adepts out, an Oracle on the way. Meanwhile, Eris is doing Eris things as it goes for a safety Roach Warren here, getting up Metabolic Boost, Burrow, squeezing out as many drones as it possibly can. Now the Oracle has been seen, and that Oracle must have had energy recharge used on it, which is very cool. So TheBigBot has been updated to make use of that for the latest patch. As let's see, it's waiting for a second Oracle. We get the Twilight on the way, which is needed for a charge lot all-in, potentially, a Forge as well, so likely going to be getting +1 with that. A 3rd base, though, too. So it's not just like some crazy 2-base all-in like I do on ladder against 4 Zergs. It is a bit more refined of a macro build. We are getting a probe, just playing Sim City, throwing down a ton of gateways to build a nice wall for TheBigBot here on Persephone. Now these Oracles are going to go ahead and fly on out. We'll see. Are they going to actually get anything done or not? There's a 3rd Oracle on the way behind this. We're getting Blink +1 from TheBigBot. In go the Oracles looking for some drones. The drones then just promptly burrow for Eris, not before one of them got picked off. Or it must have been 2. Maybe one was a scouting drone that ended up getting killed. But, yeah, well done to those oracles. They definitely could drop revelation on those drones if the author wanted to take it further and add in some counterplay to specific bots like Eris, as it's pretty easy for an oracle to reveal, prevent those drones burrowing. Now, there is a Hydra Den on the way for Eris. We're getting Roach speed up. Eris is on a very strong economy, 4 bases, and the big bot is presently just adding in some stalkers. I was going to say blink stalkers, but they do not have blink yet. Looks like the oracles are harassing a little bit, hurting Eris's economy by forcing those drones to burrow. It is not free to burrow a bunch of drones. I don't know what the exact math is, but like they pull in a lot of resources every minute. So even 10 seconds underground for an entire mineral line probably is more pricey than losing just one drone. The big bot does have blink on the way. Eris is aware of what it's up against, saying Eris versus Mass Stalker. So we are seeing some units get produced, and this will be a good test for the big bot to see how well it micros and controls its units. That's one of the big things that you've got to program as a bot author. Having a good build and macro and that kind of thing to make a bunch of units is one thing, but you've got to control them. And now we do have all these stalkers flying around, or not flying around, running forward. And we do have the oracles in the back as support. They seem to be staying very far back, waiting for potentially a big Ling dive to pop their pulsar beams to help these stalkers. The big bot is actually just going for it, getting super aggressive. There's the oracles popping their pulsar beam, and then the Lings do have to back on out of there, as Eris does respect those oracles, or just respects the sheer number of stalkers here. Lings are going to commit once more. The stalkers retreating, but then Eris does break off the engagement, so that's twice that the big bot has got 2 good engagements. It has yet to lose a single unit. As the big bot pushes forward, the oracles are popping their pulsar beams. Queens and Hydras trying to pick off those oracles. One of them is very low. 2 of them are very low. There is 2 of them going down. Eris is trying to make this defense happen. However, it is thinning out on units. +1 did just finish up for Eris's ranged units. Now Hydras are going to try and make this defense happen. The stalkers are just microing like nuts. The big bot is cruising at over 100,000 APM as these stalkers are all just being individually controlled, moving forward. The drones are not mining at this natural base. The big bot does commit on in, and I'm wondering, are we going to get any reinforcements with this push? And there is more stalkers coming across the map to help out. Lings are trickling on out. Eris is producing infestors. It's getting +1 carapace on the way, so its units will be getting better here. A nice fungal does hit those stalkers. That will soften them up, as Eris just frantically tries to get up enough units. Another fungal would have been nice there, but we see the Lings are really getting zapped up by that one oracle of the big bot, worth its weight in gold, helping to clean that up. There is still the 2 infestors there. They are eyeing up a big fungal. There's one. Another infestor wanders way too far forward. Second fungal. That infestor does burrow to get on out of there. However, these stalkers do actually need to need something to finish them off, and Eris is in a world of trouble presently. The big bot is just killing everything as it pops on out, and the blue Zerg is in a little bit of a death spiral on 6 bases here, but it cannot deal with all these stalkers at the front of its base. The big bot has a Stargate and a fleet beacon transition behind this. A Hydra pops on out, the hatchery goes down. These drones are now going to maybe look for greener pastures, but it will be difficult to get there. The oracle has used revelation, and it actually reveals those 2 infestors. One of them goes down. That's a nice pickoff. Eris is trying to get up, well, just any units that it can, but it does seem to just be trickling them out a little too quickly, as there's so many stalkers here inside the main base of Eris. Another fungal goes down. The oracle drops another revelation to ensure a kill on that, and there's just not enough units. This would definitely be like a pull the drones to fight situation for Eris, and this is how Protoss kills Zerg in a lot of games. It's just they get up to critical mass, and then the Zerg just trickles out units and gets killed off before being able to reach their own critical mass. It's kind of like a race to hit critical mass before your opponent does. and capitalize on that. Now Eris does have its spawning pool in the main base. That's going to go down. It's got the Hydra Den at the 4th base, which is a good spread of tech. Now the BigBot has got Zealots running on in, going for just a sort of counterattack behind this, which is very cool. It's not just adding in Stalkers. It is going for a more diverse composition. Those fleet beacons are still a thing. Eris is trying to micro back against these charge lots, but again, there's just too many Protoss units here, as yeah, the BigBot seems to be a cold-blooded killer with this strategy. And yeah, it's very, very effective here, being able to potentially bring down Eris, as the blue Zerg is still fighting out. It's still got 64 drones. It's got +2 attack, +1 carapace, so the upgrades are definitely good. It just needs to get out enough units. That Hydra Den being in trouble is not a good thing. The roaches are buying time, as they can just burrow to stay alive. Eris does have quite a few bases to burn. It can't really afford to lose too many more of them, and a lot of these drones are not mining, so it's not like Eris is flush with cash, unlike the BigBot, which has got 5,600 minerals in the bank. A high number of gas, too. I guess it's just... Are those gateways just all on cooldown? I guess we can't actually tell by clicking on them. Anyway, the BigBot does clean out yet another base. Those drones unburrow. They may be able to find another base. Eris has been able to build up a little bit of an army. There's a nice fungal. However, that infestor does fall, and I'm still not sure that this is enough Zerg to make a stand happen. Like, maybe if they were fighting on the mineral line and the drones were pulled into it, but probably not, as there's simply so many Stalkers here. 40 Stalkers is no joke, ladies and gentlemen, as the BigBot is going to be looking to clean up Eris here. Yeah, just a few units trickling out. The roaches are still alive, as all the oracles have died and another one is not being built, so the roaches can potentially just skirmish against these Stalkers, and they are getting a few kills. The Stalkers aren't trying to blink to save themselves, weirdly enough. And so that's like the most Stalkers Eris has killed in this game. Well, maybe that's an overstatement, but it is some good pickoffs for Eris. Unfortunately, it has now lost that Hydra Den. It's losing the infestation pit. There is one final base over to the right side here. Who knows? Roaches get pretty good efficiency, but I don't think they're going to kill off 41 Stalkers, which are also going to have +3 shields, which is very cool. Fungal growth going down. The BigBot is kind of fanning out now, targeting down that queen. Lings do get a nice little wraparound, killing off a few more Stalkers. Eris is a fighter. That's one of the very impressive things about this bot. A lot of bots would crumple if they lost their 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 5th, 6th base. Yeah, it's trying to build another hatchery, rebuild up a lair off of one base here. Those roaches are still skirmishing with the Stalkers, taking some damage, reburrowing. Lings come on in. They actually get a nice little wraparound on another Stalker. So once the BigBot sort of splits up its army, it is a little bit vulnerable. However, now Eris is losing its overlords. We just need the BigBot to get over to the right side here to clean this up. However, the production of the BigBot kind of has slowed, and it definitely isn't making use of all its money, not building any more bases, anything like that. Looks like it is actually attempting to build a 4th base. However, it has fallen for the common blunder of trying to build a base where there is a burrowed Zergling. Roaches are still skirmishing. There's still 10 of them, as they are unkillable here. However, I'm not sure they're killing that many of the Stalkers. They may be softening some of them up. Did all those nice Lings die? Looks like there's a few hanging back at home. A couple Stalkers are close to finding this base, which is not good for Eris. Eris keeps sending its overlords out towards its main base, where they are meeting death against all of these Stalkers. And that's one of the tricky challenges as a bot author, deciding what to do with something as almost trivial as your overlords, as Eris seems to just want to keep them inside its main base, which is not great in this situation. But for example, if you kept them just at your expos, wherever they popped out, expansions die a lot. So yeah, Definitely not great there. Couple Hydras still skirmishing. This base has remained hidden for now. Lings are going to get a nice wraparound. Just the micro on the Lings is very nice for Eris. They do decide they don't want that smoke, though. Roaches are still skirmishing against the Stalkers of the TheBigBot. The TheBigBot is barely keeping this high Stalker count. Like, there is a world in which somehow Eris can snowball against this. In fact, if Eris wasn't just sending out its overlords to their death again and again, I'd say it would have a chance. Unfortunately, it is doing just that, sending out all its overlords to their death again and again. So that's a little bit unfortunate. There is also +3 attack now on the way for the TheBigBot, which may mean that the Stalkers may actually be able to volley down some of these roaches potentially. Maybe so, maybe not. Another attempt at a base for Eris. Roaches maybe going to try and keep that alive, but it's not going to happen. Overlords still being sent. How many overlords have died? Oh gosh, 38 overlords. That is painful. As, yeah. I mean, if you have, like, I mean, I'd say, like, oh, they should totally just try and micro and stay alive, but it's like, they're slow overlords. They're not going anywhere. Maybe if you had overlord speed, it would make sense to sort of try and program the overlords to run, but yeah, this is just very unfortunate. And we'll see, as Eris is trying to get up yet another base. There is a world in which Eris can drag this out with the roaches long enough that the TheBigBot eventually runs out of money. As it is starting to mine out, it's not getting up another base thanks to these pesky burrowed Lings, so the TheBigBot needs to build a cannon or something at that base, but that's not going to happen, I don't think. Another attempt at a base for Eris is being shut down. Roaches popping out, trying to be heroes, but when the Stalkers are grouped up, it's not happening, and it looks like this base was eventually found, as Eris will fall in this one, I believe. Eris wasn't going down without a fight, and I genuinely think there is a world in which it comes back if it doesn't keep losing these overlords again and again. So well done to the TheBigBot, showing us that it's a very good at executing this timing attacks, but it had cool features like those extra zealots later on. It did throw up a Stargate, but then does need maybe a few things. But still, yeah, great showing taking down the top bot. And GG. Thanks for watching, everybody. Click that like button, leave a comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and if you do want to support these daily casts, consider becoming a YouTube member. It goes a long way. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.